Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarian. As always, I'm joined by the one, the only, the very cranky Suncast. How you doing, John?
Hi.
All right, okay, we'll get through this together. It's all right.
Will we?
We also have John Prosser, Front Page Tech.
Hey, it's me again.
FrontPageTech.net. Can you give
Yeah,
Suncast
because
a
your
belly
face
rub?
isn't enough on GFQ.
I know. You know what? You're everywhere.
I just posted like 6 shows that
Dude,
you're on.
This was my goal the entire time. I started watching GFQ. Oh, I love GFQ content. My real plan was just to take over, and it's slowly happening.
Well,
Andrew's
listen,
letting it happen.
Let me tell you. It's good to have. I got a pretty mug. You're no Andrew Zarian, but you know you're good space to fill on the front page. I'm glad I go there and I see your face. It could be worse. It could be way worse. It could be Kirk Harnack all day long on the site, or Chris Tobin. Well, they're all handsome men, actually. Everybody's very handsome here at GFK. We are the handsome men podcast group.
It was part of the application when I tried to sign up.
Yeah,
like,
1 to 10. How handsome are you?
Yeah.
You know what we do
send a
actually?
headshot, please.
Suncast makes this questionnaire for everybody that signs up to GFQ. This is not even a joke. This is real. Suncast validate this story so people don't think I'm lying. There is a chart. You go to the doctor and it says, what. Let's say you're in pain, and it'll say, 1 to 10, how much pain are you in? And a lot of it, it's not like a number. It's a sad face and smiley face. Like we do like the 1 to 10 pretty scale. If you're a handsome man above a 5, then you're in.
Above a 5?
Above
whether
a
or
5.
not you have a beard.
You got to have a beard.
Well, shit.
Or a bird. Do you have a bird?
I'm gonna have to leave, man.
Yeah.
I have to leave.
What about a mustache?
You could have a mustache. You could have
Or
a
a
mustache.
goatee.
Or a goatee. That's fine. Facial, any kind of facial hair.
Hey, you know what, Andrew? At least I'm not cranky. All right.
I know. Yeah, you know what? See, he's feeling better now. He's feeling better. But it's good. It's good. We could get the show on the road. Guys, I don't know if you've been following it. NAB's happening next week. And I've gone a couple times. And I'm shocked how late it is this year. And already before the event has even started, like everything is released. All the news is out there. All the unveilings have happened already via press releases. And for two people, like Suncast covers technology with us, obviously, and you cover tech every day on your thing. I was wondering how annoying that is. Like, what's the point of going to this event if everything is out there, to cover it? It's so easy now to cover it.
If you're trying to plan what you're going to do.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I just
then
find
you
it
already know
bizarre.
everything that's going to be there, because then you can plan what you want to see.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, have you covered any of the NAB stuff yet?
No, not yet. I mean, like, usually we do recap shows where, after an event happens, we have to, quickly put out a recap show within just a few hours before it's not relevant anymore. So this makes my job easier. I don't have to do a giant recap show because it just happens within a week's time of the event.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been looking at some of the stuff. Like, I noticed some stuff from Livestream. Skype announced the Skype TX4, which is pretty cool. It does 4 Skype lines, which is something that we might need to consider because we have 4 Skype lines here, and we're encountering some issues with our Skype lines. So that's a whole separate issue. Today also...
That'd be interesting to see if that worked better.
I guarantee you, John, it probably would. I guarantee you it probably would. I'm willing to bet money that if we use one of those Skype TX boxes, we wouldn't have any of these problems. They're probably allocating more resources to units like that, through bandwidth and stuff like that.
They should just give us one then.
Yeah, you know what? It's very possible that we might get one. So we're going to be very nice to all these companies providing these boxes. We're also
Andrew,
streaming. Yes, sir.
Did I tell you how great Skype is?
It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Like, it's a great service.
Phenomenal service.
Microsoft, great job with Skype.
Yeah.
Very happy with
Listen, Microsoft, we're never encountering any problems with Skype. I mean, if anybody tells you that, they're a liar.
Andrew, I couldn't tell you one issue I've ever had with Skype.
I know.
Did you?
No. How about you, Suncast? No,
Just not
that's it. Just nods.
That'll be great for audio listeners. Just me shaking my head and not saying anything.
Yeah. Guys, we're also streaming on Facebook Live right now. If you go to our GFQ page, you could see Facebook Live is streaming that. I did it yesterday for the first time with Matt Men, and I have to tell you, I was very impressed on a number of things. One, how many people were watching it. Two, how easy it was to stream on there. This is fascinating. I'm wondering if Twitter is planning on implementing something like this. You don't think so?
I don't want it on Twitter.
Why?
You got Periscope.
You do.
I just don't.
But
I just don't want it. Like, I'm interested in the whole Facebook thing.
okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Like when Facebook started really implementing video, it was sort of a joke. The way they were doing it. It wasn't that they were doing it and trying to compete with like YouTube and stuff. It was just the way they were doing it. And now they like one of the biggest problems was re-uploading of videos. People would see a popular video on YouTube and re-upload it. It just this random dude would just take a video from YouTube and re-upload it on his Facebook account and get millions of views, and the original content creator would never get any credit for it.
Yeah.
Now Facebook has actually, like very recently, implemented a new service, or what's it called? Rights Manager. That's the name of it. It's called Rights Manager.
What is that?
It's basically a copy of YouTube's Content ID system.
Interesting.
So when someone uploads a video on Facebook, it'll run it through Rights Manager and detect if it's a re-upload or if it has any copyrighted material in it. If it does, it'll take the video down immediately. So that's really, really cool. That makes Facebook like a more credible source of video content.
Yeah.
Now, entering the live market, what they just announced, essentially they said they're taking this beyond just the camera on your smartphone to stream to Facebook Live.
So right now we're streaming via Wirecast.
Right. So they can now any camera can stream to Facebook Live as long as the software enables it. So if you have like a GoPro, if the GoPro app on your phone enables Facebook Live, you could literally stream video from your GoPro. And now we got a brand new Wirecast update the other day that has Facebook Live implemented. That takes Facebook Live way, way past, in terms of functionality, way past Periscope and Meerkat. This puts it up there with like Ustream and Twitch and YouTube and stuff. This makes it like an actual competitor, which I'm actually kind of interested in. At first, I thought the whole video stuff was a joke, but now seeing them take this seriously and seeing the results is kind of impressive, which is like, I guess, a question for you. You've actually used it. Now, this is your second time streaming.
Yeah,
what are
this
your
is the
thoughts?
second time. So this is the second time I'm doing this. So if we were to compare it to YouTube Live, we do not stream on YouTube Live. And I know this is going to tie into everything that we're going to talk about, because I know a lot of people watching this also do live streaming. They do podcasts. It's a very tight community, and we share a lot of the same audiences. And a lot of people, are podcasters that watch us. If I were to tell you how much I hate YouTube Live, you would not comprehend how much I hate YouTube Live.
Well,
it's
also the type of people that you get on YouTube.
The quality of the people are not that great. Fine, I could deal with that. But the issue for me is the actual implementation of streaming and how they look at it. It's a very backwards way of doing it. It never works for me, ever. Like, legitimately never works for me. So it's convoluted. You got a couple places you got to monitor. It's a lot of pages to open up. With Facebook Live, I literally... It plugged it in. It asked me for my username. It said, which page do you want to stream to? So I could do my personal, or I could do the pages for the shows. Right now I'm doing on the GFQ page. I did it on my personal one yesterday because I was just testing it out. And it seems to be really engaging with the viewers. So right now I'm looking at it. People are writing. People are talking. There's 12 people watching it live on Facebook Live. And majority of the time, I feel like this is a market. The people on Facebook that are watching you are more likely to not go to your website if you post a link. They're in their own ecosystem.
Sure, yeah.
These are people within the Facebook ecosystem that pretty much get their news on Facebook. And I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm saying this is who I see appealing to this. These are people that are normally not going to other sites outside of Facebook. These are people at work. A lot of people were doing this at 2 o'clock. They're at work. What's the page that they have open at work all the time? Facebook. So It's a very different audience. Now, I don't know how much this is going to grow. I don't know if they're planning on implementing some sort of discoverability for this, or they're only going to, it's only going to be towards your followers.
Well,
I don't know how that's
going
to work.
We're going to have to see more settings, but obviously it's the people that are following you that are going to see it. They're working on some really weird video stuff, though, that I'm curious to see like how it plays out. Like they're actually working on implementing a feature that will auto detect you in videos and make it searchable. So
That's
let's
interesting.
just say you're outside, and say you're just walking around, and I'm walking by you, and I happen to record you. Maybe you didn't even see me recording you.
Hmm.
When I post it to Facebook, it will auto detect your face and tag your Facebook account to a video that you didn't even know was recorded of you, and it will be searchable. So if people search
Yeah.
your name, that video can come up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or not.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of iffy to me. I feel like if they do it okay, but at least give me the ability to deny it or not. Like
Yeah.
if I'm like, if it's like, hey John, you were recorded in this video. Do you want us to post it? If I say yes, that's one thing. But they need my approval first.
Yeah,
It's just they're getting really serious about video, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I think they, we always talk about this, Suncast and I, who's going to be the next YouTube, right? Who could be the next YouTube? And
Not me.
What?
Not me.
Yeah, well, you're not the next
Unfortunately.
YouTube. You're not the next YouTube. But who could be the next YouTube? What content provider could be the next YouTube? And we've seen other companies come across and try to do it. I mean, Daily Motion is probably the number 2, video platform out there, but they just don't have the traction and they don't have the following that YouTube does. And I think
A lot of it is community based.
exactly, and that's what drives YouTube. It's the fact that it's community based. Suncast hit the nail on the head here. That's what drove YouTube in the beginning, and that's why people went there. You're not going to YouTube. A lot originally it was just vloggers, and that built the following. Facebook also has a very user engaged system here. So if somebody could do it, I think it's Facebook. I'm curious to see how they do this. I'm curious to see if they create a video platform where video is searchable and very much like a YouTube. I'm curious to see it. I mean, John, you would benefit from this because this is what you do for a living also.
Right. I mean,
if there's another platform
totally
where your audience could engage with you and you could get another couple thousand views for each video, that's great.
And that's like you are completely correct. And we are at a point in time where it is impossible. So if you're planning on doing this, anyone, just forget about it now. It's impossible to create a new video service from scratch and expect it to compete with YouTube. It is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
The only chance we have for competition is literally we're looking at it. Facebook doesn't need to build anything from scratch. They already have an established community. People have been using Facebook for years, and it makes total sense for them to just add video as a feature, and they're instantly competing.
All right. Enough about YouTube Live. Why don't we go into another topic? Suncast, you want to pick a topic?
Oh, that means I actually have to look at my notes.
Now you got to look at the notes. You see that?
Well, the HTC 10 was officially announced this week.
Yeah.
It's got a quad-core Snapdragon 820 chip paired with this 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is freaking awesome. It's got a 5.2-inch Quad HD Super LCD 5 display. Comes in 32 and 64 gigabyte versions, and both of them have a micro SD slot that takes cards as large as 2 terabytes. It's got a 3,000 milliamp battery, a 12, get this, ultra pixel rear camera, and it costs $699. And you can pre-order it today.
So it's curved, right? That was a big deal. It looks like if you took the Samsung Galaxy and you took the iPhone and you just smashed it together.
It's kind of a combination of their previous devices, the M8 and the A9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's the M9 and the A9 kind of mixed.
Okay, so here's a question. It seems like micro SD slots are back.
Well, because people flip shit when they took them away.
Yeah, but I mean, they took it away for quite some time now. I mean, it wasn't like it was gone for like one season of phones that were out, like it was gone for a couple of years.
People started complaining, and all the manufacturers were like, it'll die down. Don't worry about it. But then it just didn't die down. So ultimately, you got to bring it back.
So I have the micro SD slot. I have the micro SD on this, and I put, I think a 64 gig micro SD plus I have the 32 gig on board, I guess, storage. And you know what actually sucks about this? Some applications cannot access the photos that you have on the micro SD. They can't access the media on that device.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a Android thing or that's a Samsung thing right now. I'm curious to know if other people have experienced this, but I found that to be a
Could
little
be poorly
annoying.
written applications.
What? Poorly? Okay,
Um,
it's possible. Yeah.
you know, this is an interesting thing because we saw for about 2 years we saw a move away from micro SDs where you weren't having those slots in smartphones, and now you're starting to see it again. And I've been thinking about this, and in reality, I think a micro SD card slot makes a lot of sense in these day and age because of people wanting to have cheaper phones and less inexpensive phones. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a good way to do that is to have a micro SD slot, because this is something that I hate about the iPhone is that they still start out at 16 gigabytes. Why? Just put a freaking micro SD card slot in this thing and be done with it, and then we can put in how much ever space we want, and,
Yeah.
and
Never.
that would just be perfect.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Never, ever,
yeah.
ever.
Unfortunately, I do not ever see Apple doing this, but this is a great advantage that
Tim
other
Cook
makers
is
have.
laughing at you right now, Bubby. He's laughing at you.
I know, but even if you went with the base model of 64 gigabytes, I think people would still buy an SD card, but they're still making money from that. I think there would still be people that buy 128 because they just want everything internal.
Yeah. What's the Ultra Pixel? Is that just
That's
what they
just
call
their
it?
gimmick.
It's their gimmick
It's
name?
a
Okay.
gimmick.
Okay.
It's essentially I don't know if it's a gimmick per se. It actually does serve some function, and it is just the pixels themselves. The sensor is larger. It allows for more light to come in. And
Okay.
originally, it was it was their ultra pixel camera, but the megapixel count within the sensor was 4.
Yeah,
That
I
was the
remember that.
original
Okay.
ultra pixel camera. So while it did serve low light photos a bit better, 4 megapixels did not cut it at the time, and it sucked. It just sucked,
Okay.
and that's kind of what is stuck. And they haven't gotten it right. It's been ultra pixel here. It's back in the next phone, but it's always sucked. So now giving us a better sensor along with the ultra pixel camera makes a bit more sense.
So I have a question. Are you either one of you interested in this phone? If you
No.
were buying an Android phone, would this be the phone for you, or would you go with something else?
I'm just not a big fan of HTC.
Okay. If it's interesting because to me, I find it very difficult for them to compete with Samsung. It's a very nice phone, but there's nothing special about the phone.
Well, HTC hasn't had very good luck with the devices that they put out in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and it's not
this
saying that
is
they're bad
probably
devices.
the best looking device that they've had in at least 2, if not longer, years.
Yeah. There's nothing special about it, unfortunately.
A lot of people don't really realize this, but HTC's not in a good place.
No.
Like they don't have much longer before they can't continue creating smartphones like this. They just won't be able to do it because they aren't selling, and that's just a side effect of the last couple of years of them having very mediocre flagships, and they have not put money into marketing. They just don't do it for whatever reason, and no one ever hears about these phones, ever, unless you're on The Verge every day. And that was
Yeah.
a really, really bad thing for them, them just not spending any money in advertising the phone, which is the complete opposite. They've been promoting on Twitter, on YouTube, everywhere. Videos, pictures, teasers everywhere this year with this phone, which is good to see, and it's a pretty decent phone. So hopefully it's good enough to sell a few units, but
You mean
I don't think
leaking
it's-
everything about your device before it comes out isn't enough marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it does it some justice, because if not, it's just I don't know if this phone is enough.
I
really
just
to-
don't know. I've had this discussion so often with people, and yesterday I was having a discussion with a group of people, and the group that I was with were in the tech field. Okay, they're part of the tech journalism industry, and we had this discussion, and we were talking about phones, and we're talking about Windows Phone, we're talking about Android, and I kept telling them, I'm like, guys, it doesn't matter what we know about the phone. You know what it comes down to? Exactly what Suncast said. Was there a commercial on during the TV show I'm watching? Was the commercial attractive? And when I walk into the Apple store, when I walk into Verizon or AT&T, what's the first phone I see? That's how people buy these phones. I don't think the average Android user is going into it with, well, oh my God, I better trade in my Samsung Galaxy S6 because the HTC 10 is here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how Android people are buying phones. And Apple people are buying iPhones. And if you have an iPhone, you're not going to go to Android. The reality is you're not.
Look, who are the two biggest smartphones out there right now?
Samsung and iPhone.
Yep.
That's it.
Those are the two biggest brands out there right now. Yes, there's other brands, but you really have to be more of an enthusiast to be interested in any of those other brands.
Yeah, because the reality is, we talk about the Apple effect and Apple's overpriced. But if you are going into Verizon and you have an iPhone, and now you go and you buy a $199, let's say that's the deal, right? $199 you pay out of pocket, and you get the Droid whatever. You're gonna look at this thing and be like, this is a piece of crap compared to my iPhone. That's the reality of it. It's just Apple makes the best phone for everyday usage. Now, if you want to get Android and fiddle with it and do whatever the hell you're doing, that's perfectly fine. That's that's the phone for you. But I mean, this phone gets so many eyeballs. Every time I'm out, people ask me, "What phone is that? Can I see it?" Oh my God, it's a great looking phone because it is. But it's Android, and then when I tell them it's Android, they don't care. They're like, "Oh, it's not an iPhone." I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's really
not
funny.
the new iPhone.
That's not the new iPhone. Well, you know what? It's quite possible that this will be the next iPhone. This is what it'll look like.
You need to take the iPhone 3GS with you, and then be like, this is the new iPhone.
Here you go. This is the new one. But interesting. HTC
See how many
10.
people actually believe you.
You know what? A lot of people. I'm telling you.
Too many, actually.
I want to talk about this Amazon high-end Kindle, the Oasis. It's slick, sharp, and very pricey. Amazon just pulled back the curtain on their brand new premium reader, the Kindle Oasis.
Is this real life?
This is real life.
Somehow I missed this story entirely.
You did? Did you
Now I
really?
have to click
So
yeah.
this is the Kindle Oasis. Here's an image.
Yeah, if you look at the pictures of this, what you're going to see is that this is an asymmetrical design with a very large bevel. And that bevel, as you've seen in this picture right there, is designed for you to hold it in that manner so that your fingers are not covering the screen when you're reading.
Yeah.
And it's also weighted on that end so that when you're holding it, it actually feels better in your hands. And they're charging a lot of money for this. How much do you think they're charging for this?
If I were to guess, because I have not seen the price.
I mean, because this is Amazon after all. They normally sell their stuff at a huge discount because they're thinking that you're going to buy into a lot of their other services.
I have not seen the price, but I would guess it's $199.
No, higher.
John?
300, 350.
Pretty close. They're asking $290 for this.
Yeah, that's very expensive.
And this is without a case.
This is very expensive. So who's this appealing to?
This is coming after, they sell all these other Kindle Fire variants for pretty much under $200.
Okay, Sir Bubby.
Yes.
Question. Who cares about this? Like, who do you... And I don't... That came out really
that's what
awful,
I don't understand.
Who do you think this is targeting?
I know exactly who it's targeting.
Who?
Old people.
Listen, old people... Okay. Kindles are great devices.
First of all, let me tell you, and I'm going to tell you right now, and I've used other Kindles, lower-end Kindles, and there is something to be said about reading a magazine or a website or subscription or a book on a Kindle compared to reading it on the phone.
Totally agree with you, but not for $300.
That's crazy, $280. So what's so special about it, John?
Well, what's so special about it is its asymmetrical design is that they've made it so that the bottom of this thing is meant to be held and weighted at that end so that it feels more balanced in your hand as you're holding it. Because normally when you're holding a huge tablet, you've got this uneven weight distribution, and it feels weird when you're holding it in your hand.
Yeah.
So
and that's one thing.
Double chin is what you're doing.
Yeah,
The other thing that makes this so much more expensive is the process that they use to make this so thin and light. Is that they're using a plastic chassis that they've electrocoated.
Okay.
And so they've made it in that manner so that it's very thin and light but durable.
Listen,
I guess, manner, and that's why it's costing so much money.
I guess if you read, I mean, all your subscriptions are coming through a Kindle, and you are that deeply affected by the weight distribution of your current Kindle. I guess this is the Bentley of Kindles, but I don't know that many. First of all, I don't know that many people that use a Kindle to consume media. I don't have one. I know people that do, and they never use it. I mean, it's a rarity that they're using a Kindle.
Isn't that how it is with most tablets these days?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's how it is. Because I
mean, phones have now become large enough that you don't necessarily need a tablet. I mean, if you have a 5-inch display, you don't need a tablet.
Yeah, I would like.
Is this limited? Like, can you do? Is it like a Kindle Fire, or is it this like the traditional Kindle?
It's a traditional black and white Kindle.
Oh my! What?
I'm not certain about that.
No, it is.
It is like just from the
it's
from
an
the
e-reader.
pictures. Like,
no, it's an e-reader. It's a e-ink.
Okay, yeah.
That there's already a limited market, right? There's already a limited market. The Kindle Fires, whatever, but there's a limited market for people that are still using Kindles to take in that sort of content. And now you're limiting it even more. It's like it's like Amazon being like, hey, look, brand new Amazon Kindle MP3 player with an extra chin. Here you go. Listen to your music.
It now comes
and the
in
weight
Merlot.
is distributed evenly.
So, by the way, also, let me tell you, the other Kindles are not cheap either. The Kindle Paperwhite is $139 if you don't want it with the ads. The Kindle Voyager is like $150. $199, I'm sorry, the Kindle Voyager. And this one is $300. So Kindles are not cheap.
$300 for something where you're just going to read books on.
You're just going to read your newspaper subscriptions and your books on. I get it, man. Like, listen, if you read the paper every day and you have 10 different subscriptions, you're getting the daily news or whatever the magazines are that you're reading and the papers that you're reading, I could see investing $199 into a Kindle. I can't justify $300 on a...
to be fair, it's a really good-looking design.
It is.
And it sounds amazing. The things that they've taken into account to design into the hardware itself sounds great. It's the value that you're getting out of this device for what it does that does not line up. Paying almost $300 for something where you're just going to read. If that's something that you really had to be immersed in the Kindle world in order to be interested in something like this, I think.
It almost sounds like a really good gift. Like you wouldn't buy it for yourself, but if someone bought it for you, you'd use it.
I don't know how often I would use it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how often.
Not you, Andrew.
Who?
I mean, people that can read.
I mean, yeah. I've just never taught how to read, so how do I know what?
Dude,
for $9 more,
so
you can get an iPad Mini.
You could, yeah. You could get an iPad Mini for a couple bucks more. And it's a weird device. It's a weird market they're in with these Kindles, and I know people that own Kindles love it. Like, there's like a cult following behind, like not the Kindle, not the HD or the Fire. I'm talking about like a regular Kindle. Like, they love these things. I see it on, when I'm flying, I see Kindles all the time. But again, like, I think it's that weird old school mentality where I'm not going to be connected, so might as well download all these books and let me read them on the plane. You don't need that now. You're connected. You're consuming. Whenever I fly, I have 20 megabits by 20 megabits in the air. I mean, it's crazy now. So I don't know if there's a market for a Kindle in the future. I don't know. I don't know where the future of this device is. I'm curious to see how well it sells. Because it may sell miserably or it may sell great.
I feel like it doesn't matter, though, because it's Amazon.
It's Amazon. Who knows?
Have the money to throw at this sort of
thing. Well, they don't make any money. They just throw money.
Right.
Yeah. John, you want to go? Suncase, you want to go into the next story?
Yeah, so Microsoft is adding QR codes to tell users why their system crashed. Everybody knows these blue screens of death that Microsoft has, and they're so unhelpful with its just little sad smiley face. So now Microsoft is going to begin implementing QR codes on its error screens to better explain to users why their systems have crashed. Everybody knows what a QR code is, right? Where it's just this little square barcode that you can scan using your phone, and it'll bring up a website or some other information.
So here's what it will look like.
This is what Microsoft is going to be doing with its error screens.
Yeah, so it will tell you the stop code. So here's an example. Critical process died. So I'm assuming when I scan this, it pulls it up on my phone, and it'll tell me more detail about what this means and what was. Is it detailed to the generic stop code, or is it detailed towards the actual issue that I had?
I'm assuming it's going to be extremely generic. If you have ever looked up one of these stop codes or these error messages, oftentimes you'll find this information on Microsoft's website, and it'll be extremely generic and almost to the point of being mostly unhelpful.
Yeah, it's telling you that you had a hardware issue, pretty much.
Yes,
that's it. That's all you. Well, yeah, obviously I have a hardware issue. It's a blue
and
screen,
if you dig far enough around the Microsoft website, you might be able to find a page that has like 3 different solutions and none of them work.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll just be more beneficial to actually type the stop code into Google and get answers from other people.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I'm curious to see how this is going to work, because it was, the old blue screen was terrible too, because it would flash for like 30 seconds. And then, it's pretty much what it was.
This is the problem
We're
with
shutting
these stop
down
codes is that the stop codes are generic stop codes that are assigned to any number of issues. You could get a stop code or an error code that pertains to 20 different issues that Microsoft categorizes it as.
It's like error 555, stuff had happened.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Most of the time, I'll tell you, like, I know I've never found it useful in the modern PC era. I think before, with Windows 98 and Windows 95 and Windows XP, like when you got a blue screen, it was kind of more detailed because there was a lot of stuff happening.
You look in your little manual.
Now, like, I know if I get a blue screen, which I got one recently, by the way, and it was from it's always from my Blackmagic capture card. Always. I get a blue screen from the thing because the way that they make it, it doesn't seat properly on the pins. So it's like a little lifted. So if you literally, like, if it just shifts a tiny bit, you're going to get a blue screen. So, but how do you, code is useless for that. You know what I mean?
You know what they should do? And I like the idea of a QR code. But what they could do to make this actually useful is if they would upload the crash report automatically to a Microsoft server, and that when you scan that QR code, it would take you to a private web page that could analyze that code, that code and the crash report,
amongst
and actually
other
give
users?
you more details about
Like
what
a
it is
support
that
thread?
happened and how to fix it.
Yeah.
If it could actually analyze that crash report and automatically upload it and analyze that and then tell you what to do based off of that.
Yeah, and then
that would be a lot more useful than taking you to a generic stop code, error code page that doesn't really explain anything of importance. I mean, because if anybody that's ever read one of these stop code pages, it's so generic that it could be any number of things. And without analyzing a crash report, you're really SOL.
Yeah. So I want to move on to the next story because this was interesting. The Facebook F8 developer conference happened this week, and there were a couple of things that came out of here. One was Facebook's augmented reality, how they're going to approach augmented reality and VR over the next 10 years. Who wants to pick this up? Who actually knows a little bit more about this? John?
Not it.
Good. It just sounds like they have plans. They said that they're moving towards, because they
this is part of their 10-year
Oculus.
roadmap that they've laid out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they acquired Oculus, which is not augmented reality. To be
No,
clear, that's
it's
virtual
VR.
reality.
Yeah.
A bit different. You're creating an environment instead of adding to the existing environment. That's what VR is. Augmented, of course, is adding to the existing environment. And they basically said their future plans moving forward are the end goal is to have augmented reality built in to your everyday glasses, which I know, Andrew, you and I talked about at some point on some other show in the past.
Sure. I absolutely think VR...
Was that talking about Google Glasses, perhaps?
We could have. I think VR is in its infancy right now, and whatever's out there is just crap. It's gimmicky. I know a lot of people love these Samsung VR headsets. They're using Oculus to software version within Samsung phones, but it doesn't work great. It doesn't look great. I got a headache from it. It's glitchy. Your phone overheats. So we're not there yet. I mean, this is something that's going to be cool in a couple of years. Again, maybe 10 years it'll be there. I'm more interested in augmented reality than I am in virtual reality. I think augmented reality
way cooler.
Is way, way cooler. If anybody has ever spent time with any of these augmented reality headsets, any of these devices, there are a lot of possibilities for use cases for augmented reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I envision for the future? I envision everybody is living in like in a tenement, like a horrible apartment. And you go home and you put on your glasses and now you're in the freaking Ritz-Carlton. I mean, you're living the life.
That's not going to do anything for the smell of the tenement then.
No, it won't. Well, you know, you've seen those Febreze
commercials.
Still
smell that awful
you've seen
crap
those
place that you live in.
You've seen the Febreze commercials, John. Febreze can cover anything up. So I think there is a place for this, especially for augmented reality, especially in the gaming market, the next generation Xbox, the next generation PlayStation. A lot of this stuff will be incorporated in that, and I think it's going to be cool. But in its current state, we are in the infancy of these guys, so it's not great.
And anybody wearing glasses will be banned from casinos.
Yeah. So how do they? Yeah. Again, how will they do this?
We'll just have to have more rules put in place.
Yeah.
Okay. People freaked out when they put cameras on phones.
They did.
That was weird.
Yeah, they did.
That was weird. Now it's a standard. It's not like you walk in and there's like a rule book. Okay, if you bring a phone in, here's the rules. Be careful with your camera, that sort of thing. At first, people are going to freak out. They did that with Google Glass. Like, Google Glass is a thing. It's an amazing piece of technology. Of course, it wasn't up to everyone's standards. But for what it was, a pretty amazing piece of technology, but it had a camera on it. And that freaked everyone out.
Yeah.
Eventually, this is just how life is going to be. Everyone's going to have it, and there will be a new standard, new rules put in place, just like there was when they put cameras on smartphones or phones in general.
Listen, do you remember when they said that every phone? I remember when they started doing this, and they were trying to make it mandatory to have the shutter noise in phones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? And some phones actually you couldn't disable the shutter sound.
Yeah, I think BlackBerry was one of those.
BlackBerry was one of those, and I mean they got rid of that obviously, but
they got rid of Blackberries too.
Yeah, nobody's buying Blackberries either, so it says something. But that was a major problem. Like people didn't know if you were. Listen, there are going to be creeps out there, right? And that's always going to be a problem. We can't punish everybody because there's a couple of weirdos.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build a smartphone into my shoe.
Into your shoe, dude. Let me tell you something.
Bluetooth.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm going to tell you something,
and walk
John,
around like that. I mean,
you think that's crazy?
Easy this stuff is to do.
You think that's crazy? Walk. I'm telling you right now. Go into Manhattan in the summer. I'm telling you right now. There are creeps walking up and down the street doing that exact thing with their phones like this, and they're waiting. They get really close, and they're just like recording. You see it happen. It's crazy. I mean,
There's a new case that actually came out for the iPhone called the Spy Case. And so essentially, okay, for video watchers,
I'm looking this up right now.
Right, you have a phone. This is obviously not an iPhone, but there's a little mirror that flips up here, and it actually reflects the image that's in front of the mirror onto the sensor, onto the camera itself. So you don't point your phone like this. You point your phone straight ahead like you're actually using it. And the mirror is actually reflecting the image that's in front of you into the camera lens and onto the phone.
So
and there's an app that will
you have
image.
firsthand experience with this.
And you have firsthand. Yeah,
I have firsthand experience. I use it at pretty much every location I go to. The local Walmart is great late at night if you just want to post any pictures of people.
Oh, so you're running people at Walmart.com.
Yeah, that's me.
So wait a minute. So pretty much, but you still got a phone in your hand.
You're holding it like this though, Andrew. So hold your phone like you're texting.
Okay.
That's all you do.
I'm holding it like I'm texting.
Exactly. That's it. You're recording people from that angle. There's a mirror. Who am I?
Which angle? Like
right
I'm
in
recording
front of you. Right.
Oh, I'm recording this.
There is a mirror. Facing in front of you, so you're not like changing the position of your phone, and the mirror will reflect the image onto the camera sensor, and that's it. You're recording people.
Dude,
like a little
listen, you don't need to be like that in New York City. All you got to do is go to any comic convention.
Oh my God. Oh, you want to see a gaggle of creeps. The gathering of the creeps. Go to any comic book convention. You go to Comic-Con, I'm telling you right now, all these neckbeards are walking around just hovering over these poor women. Yeah, but you're not walking around like a weirdo, like touching women. Unless you are.
No.
Okay.
Unless you are you, Bobby?
Dude, I see it, man. Like, I see it. Like, it's
at a comic convention, you can go up to any freaking, girl that you think is extremely attractive and be like, hey, can I take your picture? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's, again, you go and you ask. You go and you say, hey, can I have a picture? Or, oh, wow, you start.
You don't need to do these sleazy things where you're hiding the camera or doing tricks with your camera to get pictures. You can just go to a comic convention, ask these women.
You know what I've seen? I've seen the touching stuff happen, like at these comic conventions where girls are walking around, they're dressed up in cosplay, and guys think that is, it's like that's an invite to like just grope them. Dude, it is insane. It is insane how often
you never know. Some women might be into that stuff.
Listen, I'm into it. You want to grope me? It's fine. I'm gonna dress up in cosplay if some like weird dude.
Is you.
Not everyone is me. No, listen. I think there's creeps everywhere. I don't know how we came to this conversation, to be honest. Oh,
we totally derailed.
I have no idea how this happened.
We were talking about the Facebook glasses.
We were talking about Facebook glasses. Yeah. So I think there is obviously a market for this, and I think they're doing a case study to see how augmented reality could be incorporated in Facebook. Do I want to get my Facebook notifications on my glasses? No.
Yes.
I actually predict that there's going to be a tremendous backlash over the next couple of years where people are going to want to be disconnected and not connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think we're approaching.
My problem with this.
What?
Is that this is such a pie in the sky thing that all this is at this moment is Mark Zuckerberg grabbing headlines. I'm like, hey, look at Facebook. Look at me. I'm going to do this thing that Google couldn't do.
Yeah.
And I think at this point,
it's going to be cool.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, yes, he admits that it's going to take a long time to do this, but at the same time, I don't see there any point in announcing this right now. Ooh, so you're working on augmented reality glasses. Whoop-de-doo, but that turned out great for Google.
Yeah. So is everybody else, by the way. Everybody's working on augmented reality. Everybody is working on augmented reality.
I think it's going to be so cool. Like, eventually, like, 10, 20 years from now, we no longer have, like, traditional eyeglasses. They're all fitted with augmented reality. When you walk past someone, you walk by John Bubb in public, boom, it's like, and it's like, this is Suncast. Here's his Facebook account. Follow him on GFQ. Yeah. Boom, done. Cool.
It's interesting. Well, we'll see where it goes. ESPN to start covering drone racing in August. This is just another way for them to capitalize on the trend of drones. I guess drone racing has become a thing. They're going to be covering the U.S. National Drone Racing Championships from Governor's Island here in New York City. You can watch it live. They're doing gaming also, right? They're doing esports.
Esports.
Which I think that there's nothing sport-like about playing a video game. I'm sorry.
Well, the commentary. The color commentary is very similar.
Now, Andrew.
Why do am I too old to understand why you would want to watch?
Okay, listen. Why do you want to watch people play football? You're not playing football. It's the same reason people want to watch a game. Sometimes you're not playing the game yourself.
No, but is it
Sometimes
a sport?
It does make sense to watch.
Do you consider it a sport?
Okay, there's a difference between you going out and playing football and watching people play football that are much better than you on TV. That argument is the same for watching people play video games.
I guess so. I guess there. Listen, maybe if I played games, I would. If I played them more, I would probably get it. Like my friend Colin, Josh watches this stuff all the time, and he's like, "Oh no, there's a championship happening. I have to watch this. It's a Dota 2 championship."
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. See, I don't care about it at all. I'm not a huge gamer, but I still understand the market. I understand why people do it. I don't watch sports either. I'm not a big fan of football either.
See, I watch sports.
I understand why people do that.
Yeah, but I get the watching thing. I get the Twitch streaming thing. I don't get the calling it a sport. That's what I don't get.
They put an E in front of it. Come on, man.
They put an E. Okay, electronic sport. Oh my God! So they're going to be covering drone racing now. This is getting nuts.
That's a little.
When is ESPN Drone Channel coming?
Yeah, they're going to have a drone feed. Dude, there's money in it. People are going to do it. I'm telling you. One last story
I'm
here.
assuming they're going to use drones to cover this.
They're going to use drones to cover the drone races. Yeah, and then you're going to have drone crashes. It's like NASCAR. You're going to look forward to the drone crash.
This sounds ridiculous.
It does. SpaceX proves its reusable rocket can land at sea. The folks at SpaceX had a successful demonstration of their Falcon 9 rocket. This was a big deal, actually.
Yeah, this happened last Friday after we did our show around 4 or 5 o'clock. And I watched the live feed of it. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible. SpaceX has had a number of launches lately. They've tried this 5 times previously. And these are real rocket launches that they've done, and they've sent supplies up to the International Space Station. So this isn't just a non-mission where they're just being completely experimental. They actually sent supplies up to the International Space Station. But in the process of doing this, they've also been running experiments to see if they can land a rocket and reuse the rocket on a drone ship in the middle of the sea. They've done this previously where they've landed the rocket on land, but never at sea. And they've had 5 previous attempts before this one last Friday. And it was absolutely amazing and incredible to see this actually be successful. I don't know if you can bring up the video of it. I linked a video in the notes for this.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not. I can't pull it up on this machine.
It's absolutely incredible to watch this rocket come back down and land almost perfectly on this drone ship.
Yeah, and the drone ship is not a large little. It's not large either. So this
no,
really,
and it's out in the middle of the freaking Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
Like for it to be able to land on this drone ship, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. So the
technology involved to do something like that is insane. The amount of calculations, real-time calculations that a computer has to do in order for
real-time modification of modification of the calculations as well.
You're talking about a rocket that spans the height of about 25 stories. And they landed this on a drone ship in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, this is actually really awesome. I'm glad that it was successful because they've had some failed attempts. 2015, they had a bunch of failed attempts at attempting, with the rockets and trying to do this. But it's actually mind blowing that they can do this. It's amazing. I mean, listen, space exploration will be the future of space exploration is not NASA or any other government that's doing it. It's going to be the independent, like SpaceX, like groups like that are coming together and funding it and creating this project. I think this is great, since they opened up space exploration to the private market. It's awesome.
Yeah, and if they can prove that reusable rockets are viable, it could save them up to 30% of the cost of building a new rocket.
Yeah. And
you're talking about something that costs $40-50 million to build. If you can save 30%, that's a lot of savings.
Yeah, there's also a video. I saw a video of the entire, going the actual launch and the landing together.
Yeah, I watched it. This all happened within like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If anybody is interested, you should go to YouTube and check this video out. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, listen, this is a feature. We're talking 100 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking tomorrow. This is pretty awesome. Very cool. Is there anything else in the notes, or we've gone through it?
We've gone through it.
We've gone through it. All right, boys and girls, listen. If you want to help us out, you want to support the GFQ Network, you could do so by going to our Patreon page and funding us. Patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us there. Also, use our Amazon link. Whenever you buy something on Amazon, use this link, gfq.co/Amazon. You can bookmark it, click on it whenever you're buying something, and we get it credit every time. We make a couple cents here and there, but it really builds up because we do upgrades. We got to change this, we got to change that, and everything is done through that Amazon page. You can follow me on Twitter at AndrewZarin. You can follow Suncast at Suncast. John, what's your, what is it, John_Prosser?
That's it.
John_Prosser on Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.